It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Here's what we've called it. We've called it speculative investing. I'm going to even change the name of it. I'm going to call it speculating instead of investing.
Yeah.
Because I think those are two separate things. There are speculators, and then there are actual long-term investors.
Well, this makes me think of, because I just mentioned Warren Buffett in
Yep.
the previous segment. Somebody asked him what's his holding period on holdings. He says if he could get the right company with the right valuations and they've got the right type of products it's making, he hopes his holding period is forever.
Forever.
I mean, so I think that's the thing, and that's what you typically, when you go into any investment, you're hoping at a minimum you're long-term in it.
Yep.
So at minimum long-term, we're talking 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. That's why it breaks my heart when you see some of these behavioral studies like Dalbar and some of the other things in the past that have shown the average holding periods of investments, and they're like a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, it's nowhere near long term, and that's the part when I hear people are holding stuff less than 2 years, you're not investing. You're speculating, counting on the momentum or the moment to create the money, not the value that's actually within that investment.
And here's what I think is so interesting about the investment universe. There are always going to be new things coming in. There are always going to be new trends and new companies. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that investing in those things are bad. If you're someone who wants to invest in Bitcoin, perhaps that's okay if it fits into your financial situation. But if you're only doing it because you heard Bitcoin is the next hot thing and you don't have any sort of underlying foundational reason for buying that, perhaps you're not viewing it the right way. There are folks who say, you know what, I want to go buy Tesla stock because I think it's going to be the exciting new thing. That's different than someone saying, hey, I want to go own Tesla stock and I'm comfortable owning it for the next 15 years because I think they're going to change the automotive industry. Those are two different types of investors. And you need to understand before you put your army of dollar bills to work, you know which one you are. Are you actually investing or are you speculating?
I want to stir some people up because I asked this question on the comment section and nobody ever can answer me. So I figured we'll ask it now on the show so somebody listening to the podcast or somebody who's watching this can actually give me an answer. For all my crypto investors out there, Bitcoin and so forth, what are you buying? I mean, that's what I need somebody to tell me. What are you actually buying? Don't tell me blockchain. That's the technology.
Sure.
What I want to know is because, look, the only way you can make money in cryptocurrency is if you convince somebody else to pay more than you paid for it. The value-based things that you typically see with an investment is interest, dividends, innovation, meaning that they're able to go out there and do some type of create a product or innovate, invent something that changes it. So then the people usually will say, well, it's a currency. I'm like, well, typically a currency means that you have a government and you have a taxing authority, you have something backing it up. There's nothing like that. I'm not asking it to be snarky. I just need somebody to tell me, what are you actually buying? And until somebody can explain that, maybe this is what makes me the old man on the front porch. Until you can explain that, my old school just won't let me go there because it feels a lot like speculation if there's not actually something that I can call it an investment or ground it into the world of investments. That's a serious question. So feel free in the comments section. Educate us, because if you bring up currency, I'm going to bring up that it's not backed by a government or taxing authorities. If you bring up it's an investment, I'm going to say, how does it generate value other than me trying to sell it to somebody paying more? Try to help me figure out where that knowledge base is, because it gets a lot of people are talking about this stuff.
So one of the questions you have to ask yourself before you're thinking about being an investor is, what's my source of data? Where's my information coming from? And if you want to deploy some money somewhere because a family member mentioned it, well, who is that family member and what authority do they have to be giving you investment advice? Or perhaps you were at the Christmas party and you heard so-and-so talk about that new tech stock that they've made 13,000% on. Well, did that person just get lucky, or do they actually have the merit to be telling you how to invest your money? You need to really consider the source of where your advice is coming from.
Yeah, and is it grounded in anything?
That's right.
And that leads to the last thing, overconfidence bias. And by the way, guys, The worst thing that can happen to you with any of these speculative strategies is for you to make money the first time you do it.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as you make money doing one of these speculative things, you're going to think, I'm a genius, I should do more of this, and you'll actually typically put more money into the process. Don't worry, the music stops at some point. They've definitely moved the chairs away, and you'll see. I've been there, done that. I've seen that mistake, so just be very careful. Make sure you're grounded in being an investor, not a speculator. Don't get in the habit of chasing the hot dot. Yep. What was good last year might not, just because of momentum trading, be good next year. Understand what you're investing and what the why is, and you'll be protected.
We said it at the beginning of the show. Building wealth is surprisingly simple, but it's not always easy. However, if you can avoid these three things, walking away from free money, faking it till you make it, or faking your life with debt, and being a speculator instead of investor, if those are the only three things that you get right, you've already got a head start on the majority of folks out there. You're already setting yourself up for success, moving in the right direction.
We just gave 3 mistakes that you're worried about. I want to close it out with one big thing I think you should be thinking about. Deferred gratification.
Love it. Guys,
Bo just said it. Wealth creation is surprisingly simple. All it takes is these 3 simple components. Discipline. That is deferred gratification. If you can live on less than what you make, you will be successful in the long term. You're taking a little bit of today for that great, big, beautiful tomorrow. The second component is because you're going to use that discipline to create the margin. That's going to create money. That's going to create a little bit of extra money. That money is going to get invested. Then you're going to use the secret sauce of time. So you take discipline, money, and then time. It does the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to do anything else. And then eventually your army of dollar bills will work just as hard as your back, your brains, and your hands. So don't miss out on all these opportunities to let your army of dollar bills work just as hard as you do. Go to moneyguy.com and then subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got to get to 100,000 by year end. We're not going to be able to do it without you. We work with clients in 42 states. The abundance cycle, you come, we give you free information. You learn, apply, grow it. There's going to come a time where you're going to want us to be in your corner, and we'll be waiting. Anything else to add?
I love it. I thought that was fantastic. If you haven't checked out our resource page, go do that. And like he said, don't rent your seat to the show. Make sure you subscribe so we can get to 100,000.
I'm Brian Preston, Mr. Bo Hansen, Money Guy Team, out.